right. Well, I thought maybe it's time to wake everyone up. I thought maybe I'd flip onto the stage. I'm wearing a dress, so maybe not today. It's also been a little while since I've flipped. I'm just going to clear the path over here so I don't mess up anyone's stuff. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here today, a part of this show. It's amazing. I know everyone's got fitness on their mind that's here with us. I hope you also have the Winter Games, the Olympic Games on your mind. Those are going to be coming up quick. And I do talk to a lot of kids, so I'm really excited because I think some of you were actually around in 1996, which was a pretty good summer for my team. I remember being so young, and here we were, 15 years old, 19 years old, walking into the Georgia Dome, 40,000 screaming spectators, flashbulbs going off, and we just walked in with this sense that this is our night. We're not leaving this arena without a gold medal. That evening, by the end of the competition, there we stood atop the gold medal platform, the first ever women's gymnastics team to win the Olympic gold medal in United States history. It was absolutely magical and certainly a time that I will never forget. For me, the road was a little bit rocky. I started at kind of the top, a gold medal with the team, doesn't get much better with that. And then I had a little bit of a rocky road. I stumbled a bit during the all-around finals, and then I missed on the vault finals. And when I say missed, I mean I landed on my rear end in front of the world. So my last event was coming up, and here it was, balance beam, last opportunity to bring home an individual medal for my country, the last 90 seconds of my entire Olympic career. Balance beam, 4 inches wide, so skinnier than the curb you're walking down, 16 feet long, the most feared event in all of gymnastics, and I was terrified. And I remember that night I walked up onto the podium, I saluted the judge, and I held my hands over the beam just a couple of extra seconds that night. Took an extra deep breath, and I thought, I've done all that I can do up to this point. I've been through the hard work, the repetition, the blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. All I can do now is give 100% and enjoy the moment. So I mounted the beam, and with each skill, it seemed like I gained more and more confidence until all of a sudden, there I was, into the beam, arms raised high, and I said a little prayer, please, God, please just let me land on my feet tonight. And when my feet hit the floor, and I realized I was standing up, it was the most amazing feeling ever. This incredible mix of emotion, this joy and excitement, the relief. I saw my coach jumping up and down, going crazy on the sidelines, and I think I saluted the judge, but who knows at this point. I just wanted to live in that moment. I didn't know what the score was. I didn't know if there was a medal, what color it might be. I just wanted to live in that moment where everything came together. Now, that was a few years ago, and since then I've gone through many of the life changes that everyone else goes through. After retiring from the sport in 1996, at least from Olympic competition, I went on a 100-city tour with my teammates, and after that, no, I didn't go to Disneyland or Disney World. I went back to school. I was in college part-time, so I kept going. I was back in Oklahoma, and I was a very, very shy person. This would have terrified me. And so I didn't get out. I wasn't doing a lot of activities. I basically went to class, I came home, I did my homework, watched television, I ate, and I ate, and I ate. And all of a sudden, I gained a significant amount of weight on my 5-foot frame. And it was very difficult. Here I was training 40-plus hours a week and went from that to absolutely zero in no time flat. And I didn't really understand how to deal with this. I had never worked out as a normal person. My idea of training was swinging around an even bar or flipping down a balance beam. I didn't know what to do with a treadmill. Are you kidding me? So I thought, okay, well, I've got to I've got to figure this out somehow. But I didn't think too much about it until one day I went into my closet, and this is Oklahoma, so I pulled out my comfy jeans, and 10 minutes later, I was still trying to put on my comfy jeans and realized that without a can of Crisco, this was not going to happen. And that's when it kind of all hit. I have to do something. This is not right, this is not healthy. And of course, going from 40 plus hours a week where you could pretty much eat anything you want and not have to worry about it because you're burning so many calories. I mean, we've all heard what Michael Phelps burns. It's insane. Well, at 19 years old, I was burning like nobody's business. So I didn't ever think twice about what I was eating. And now all of a sudden I had to look at the reality of things. And for me, like most women, I went to all the fad diets first because, you want to lose it. And give me a pill, let's do it by tomorrow, let's get it done. And when I found out that didn't work, because I would lose a little and then gain a lot more, I found out what worked for me was an everything in moderation approach. I started keeping a food diary and an exercise log and really holding myself accountable to what I was doing each day. And really, it didn't happen overnight, but my weight did even out, and the most amazing thing happened. I felt healthier. I was stronger, and I became more confident as a person, just in my own skin. I started to get out and do things, learn about other sports, and actually get out there and do them. And it was exciting for me. This was the first time in my life that I felt confident off the gymnastics floor. It was through that process that I really found my passion for health and fitness, especially as it relates to women and children. My company is Shannon Miller Lifestyle, and our mission is to help women make their health a priority. I also have a foundation that I started in 2007 to fight childhood obesity. We provide in-school running clubs just in the Jacksonville area right now. Right now we're helping with a little over 8,000 kids in Northeast Florida. And basically that's to help supplement the diminishing physical education for these children. We want to instill a love of fitness from as early as possible. As a society, we all know we are sadly moving less and eating more and not quite as healthy. And when we think about our children's futures, that can translate into some pretty serious health risks. We know type 2 diabetes, heart disease, asthma, or hypertension, the increased risk of becoming overweight, which leads to so many other chronic medical conditions throughout their lives. Childhood obesity has been a top priority for me, even before my two little ones came along the way. Now, I know that there are many different angles with which you can approach this issue. My foundation, we primarily focus on the physical activity components. If you can get kids active, if you can just get them to understand that it's not working out, it's just play, it's just having fun, then you can start making a real difference. And not only with weight, we're talking about confidence, self-esteem, managing stress, better grades, being able to just focus in class. I think everyone here understands that fitness is not just about the number on the scale. It's how we feel. It's how we act. It's how we face those challenges in our life. It's kind of an attitude, and it's really about making time for ourselves, making ourselves a priority. It is a lifestyle. Fitness tech can help us lead a healthy, active lifestyle by providing motivation, guidance, and accountability. I've recently partnered with Polar to educate families about using heart rate and activity tracking to reach fitness targets and achieve a healthier lifestyle. As a leader in heart rate assessment and technology, the tools Polar has developed have improved youth PE classes, and we all know how much kids love their tech. Now, I admit, I'm pretty old school, so all of the stuff going on here is just fascinating and a little scary. For me, I was probably the last person on Twitter or Facebook or to have an iPhone. Takes me a little bit to get there, but once I figure out how a certain technology can help me multitask, can save me time, can somehow add to my lifestyle or alleviate stress, then I am totally on board. So now I'm good on social media and a myriad of other technologies. I can even, for the most part, use my phone. And exercise, I've got down pat. In gymnastics, we didn't really utilize heart rate technology. Again, that was a few years ago, back in the day. And I wish we would have. It would have been incredibly beneficial as far as not overtraining or undertraining, helping us peak at the exact right time. Last fall, I had a fascinating conversation with Janet Rayfield, the head coach of the University of Illinois women's soccer team, about her use of the Polar Team 2 technology. And she talked about how she loved that she could look at the individual athletes and how they make up the team performance. She could look at this technology and make sure that she wasn't overtraining any one girl. In fact, she could take two different athletes, and she gave us kind of the gist of their past weekend. That they had a doubleheader, and one athlete, I mean, she was burning way too many calories. There should no way she was going to be back up to par by the next game. And she said, well, so I knew to take a step back and kind of approach her training a little bit different. But then there was another girl that she wasn't quite at capacity, so she needed to step it up a little bit to keep up with the rest of the team. It allows her to regulate training in a way that she never could before. She can help individual players peak at the right time, and it also helps her athletes to prevent injury and burnout. Polar and similar technologies are used, of course, by professional athletes, but they're also utilized by everyday folks that just want to get a good workout and stay active. Also by health professionals and thousands of phys ed programs. I wanted to learn more about the benefits and advantages of heart rate and how it's used as a fun way to bring motivation and guidance so that children can learn to recognize their fitness level and their progress and really their potential. NASPE, the National Association for Sport and Physical Education, recommends at least 150 minutes of physical education a week for elementary school children. And I'm not sure, most of you, or some of you at least, probably have kids. Is there any chance at all, that even 30% are getting this? Not a chance. In fact, it's estimated that only 8% of elementary schools even provide daily physical education classes. Now, I know that I can't sit for 5 or 6 hours straight without my brain and my tush going numb. Even the flight from the East Coast was a killer. How can we ask our kids to do this? It's insanity. Aside from PE classes, there are so many ways that we can help children and their families have fun keeping active. As parents, we have to lead by example. Yes, we want to work with the schools. We want to get that portion of it going, but we can't leave it there. We have to lead by example and help encourage our children to exercise and motivate them to make healthier choices. Sometimes I know that's easier said than done, especially in this digital age. But just as families use star charts to track their chores, I really encourage parents and children to track their movement as well, so that they know when they hit those activity levels. There are so many activity trackers and apps and sensors that allow this, so why not make it fun for our kids? Help children understand that physical activity isn't something that you do when you have time. It's something that you incorporate into your lifestyle so that it simply becomes part of your everyday routine, just like brushing your teeth. You keep active. And I think that's a really great lesson for all of us. I primarily talk to women about health and fitness, and women, we are the worst at making time for ourselves. And we'll get our kids, our loved ones, to the doctor, make sure they're eating right, all that jazz. But when you ask women why they aren't exercising or why they didn't get 8 hours of sleep the night before, well, I didn't have time. I had a million things to do. So what are we teaching our children if we reinforce each day that our health is something we take care of if we have time. We have to make our health a priority for us and for them. We know the American Heart Association states that increased physical activity has been associated with an increased life expectancy. Who knew? The decreased risk of cardiovascular disease and a host of other benefits. I've learned from Polar that heart rate is the only true measure of exercise intensity. When measured appropriately, heart rate can act as a clear indicator of the body's response to exercise. It helps us make the most of our workouts, and isn't that what we all want to do? Get as much workout in the least amount of time as we possibly can. Heart rate monitoring is important because it tells in detail the effects of any exercise, and it's based on you as an individual. It gives real-time feedback. It allows you to follow your fitness improvement, which motivates you to keep going, and it's about personal improvement, and I think personal empowerment. Every child should understand the importance of working out at their individual intensity level. And some children will try to push themselves too hard to the point of burning out or risking injury, and others don't get that much benefit from exercise because they're maybe not trying hard enough. Finding your child's individual target heart rate will help you know the type and the amount of movement needed to reach an appropriate and healthy level of intensity. I was really excited last October. I had the great opportunity to visit a variety of schools to get a deeper understanding of today's physical education classes and participate in more conversations about the use of fitness tech in schools. Now, I've seen how technology is transforming the learning experience by providing teachers with the tools they need to motivate and encourage children to take control over their own health and to track their fitness goals. At Carrie Busey Middle School in Champaign, Illinois, I visited these classrooms, and they were doing what they call brain breaks. Oh my goodness, this was the toughest 10 minutes of dance that I have had in a very long time. And after that, I visited with the 5th grade PE class, where they showed me how they use the Polar Active to get moving and track their progress. Now, I love seeing kids so active, but what I really loved was that they were so happy about it. They were so excited, and they wanted to show me the amount of steps they had taken and how long they had been active in their personal zones. I mean, they knew how to use this, they were on board, and they were excited about it. The simple activity monitoring is based only on body movement, showing students a fun and easy way how they are active throughout the day. And the activity levels are great because they're indicated with a little man. So there's this little man, and he sits down when he's tired, and he gets running when the child is going. So without needing a chest strap, the wrist unit activates automatically whenever the child starts moving, no matter what he or she is doing. So running, jumping, throwing, playing, all of those things are counted. At Franklin Middle School, I got to witness the unveiling of the Polar GoFit heart rate module. This was awesome because there were 100 kids in a gym, not as big as this room, and there were 3 coaches, 3 teachers with iPads. And it was spectacular. You're watching these squares light up on the big screen, and the kids are cheering, and they're excited, and with everyone that lights up, they're running faster. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And at one point, one of the teachers turned to me and she whispered, "I have to admit, I was so scared of this because I don't know much about technology. I can barely use my phone. This is so easy." And I just wanted to throw my arms up and say, yes, I feel you, because it is scary sometimes. Not everyone is kind of in the tech mode, but this is such easy technology to use that you can get the teachers involved and on board once they see how easy it is. Fitness tech helps instill healthy habits both in and outside of the classroom. It's amazing to see children even going home and inspiring their parents and siblings to get active once they've kind of grasped that concept. Fitness tech can change the way health and PE are taught by keeping track of every child and every movement and inspiring them to do their very best each day. It provides positive reinforcement. When children stay in their optimal heart rate zone, they know that they're on the right track for their individual fitness, even if they're not typically the first one to cross the finish line or be chosen for a team. Monitoring heart rate helps everyone reach their personal potential. It tracks progress. PE is very difficult to quantify or grade, and fitness goals, they're just not reached overnight. But the constant feedback from heart rate training informs instructors and motivates students. It also promotes safe, effective exercise. And with heart rate technology, teachers can assess how hard each student is working and ensure that they're doing so safely. They can also push students who might look like they're excelling but aren't quite giving it enough of what they can. And it makes PE fun. And isn't that the bottom line? It makes PE fun. Incorporating technology like this makes PE more fun and engaging than old-fashioned, capture the flag. Students can see their heart rate, their calorie count, and they can get the foundation for a future active lifestyle. For physical education teachers, the goal is to have an objective assessment instead of just trying to view it. The main point is to have children exercising at the right intensity so that they aren't wasting time in PE and aren't overtraining or undertraining their kids. And that's how you lose them. By overtraining, undertraining, injury. Heart rate levels the playing field. Each child is being compared to what is appropriate for them, not necessarily a national norm. Technology has taken that good old PE class where you have a few kids running a 6 or 7 minute mile and the Olympic gymnast running the 10.5 minute mile. And yes, that was me. It levels the playing field. In 1992, there I was, the spring before I went off to the Barcelona Olympic Games and brought home 5 medals. I ran my best mile in a little over 10 minutes. I'm a gymnast. My routines are 90 seconds. I'm really good for 90 seconds. If we had heart rate technology back then, I maybe wouldn't have been quite so embarrassed by my performance. I would have been in the red zone the entire mile. But now we see it starts to level the playing field. This technology is so easy to use and understand. My 4-year-old Rocco, he wears his activity watch, and he absolutely loves it. And he doesn't like it when the little man sits down. He'll look at his watch and say, "Mommy, he's sitting, I have to go." And he'll dart out the back door, and he'll run up and down the yard, dogs chasing him, going crazy. But he wants to see that little man run. That's his thing. And if it's raining outside and he can't go, then we're doing a dance party in the sunroom. He knows that. Or, some of our favorite things, he's invented balloon ball, where you just toss a balloon and it's not allowed to touch the floor. Or we just roll out bubble wrap. Roll out bubble wrap in your hallway and watch your 4-year-old go. It is the time of their life. But he loves that. He loves the connection between moving and technology. And I think that's the point. When you combine things that children love, like technology and moving, it's a recipe for a healthy lifestyle. And it helps us as parents to understand how much activity our kids are actually getting. Because if you kind of stand back and you think about how active they are, with you, and maybe you think they're getting some activity at school, but when they wear their watch and you see how little activity they're actually getting, it's kind of scary, and it's a little depressing. So we have to make sure that they're getting enough activity. I know with recess, when I was young, we used to go out and run the 50-yard dash, and that was like our fun time. And now you get, a lot of that. But the earlier we reach our children and make activity a part of their lifestyle, the better chance they have of sticking with it. They'll view fitness as fun because they will innately know how it makes them feel. So I'm really excited about the technological advances that are being made with regard to helping our next generation get fit and healthy. But I'm also very interested in making life easier and more healthy for women. And I don't mean to leave all the boys out, but I don't know much about the boys. I'm a women and children. As I mentioned, my company is very focused on helping women make their health a priority. I know what fitness has done for my lifestyle, my life, on so many different levels. And my husband knows what I'm like if fitness is not part of my lifestyle. Certainly, there's a good amount of training, as you can imagine, involved with the journey to Olympic gold, but I'll be honest, it is harder to get fitness in now than it ever was as a gymnast. When I was a gymnast, 15, 19 years old, all I had to worry about was school and gymnastics. That was it. Now I run a company, I run a foundation, I have a husband and a 4-year-old, and we have our new addition. My daughter just turned 6 months old on Christmas Day. There's the puppy that we decided to get about the same time as we had the second child. There's the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the getting everyone to their appointments and activities on time and dressed the correct way. At work, like many of you, I sit behind a computer for hours on end. I sit on airplanes quite a bit. So I have to find those areas where I can have fitness in my life, and I can't feel guilty about making it a part of my daily activity. And yes, I'm also one of those crazy, quirky people that really likes to sleep. I like my 8 hours. So you start doing the math in a 24-hour day, and it's a bit mind-boggling to try to figure out, okay, how are you going to do all of this? And I try my best to practice what I preach, what I talk about to other women. We all lead very busy, very demanding lives, but somehow we have to find a way to make ourselves matter. Very few of us have 2 hours a day in which we can devote to physical activity. We may not even have a 60-minute block of time, but that's okay. We can't expect to turn our lives upside down. We have to find what fits within our lifestyle. It's like dieting. Those quick fix diets, they don't work because it's not part of a lifestyle. It's not something you can stick with. How many people do you know, and this week especially, they're going out gangbusters. It's the new year. Health is a priority because this is it. 2014, this is my year. This is when I'm going to get healthy. They've never run a mile in their life. They're signing up for the marathon come March. And they're working out 6 days a week. And this time, they're going to make it. Now, I'm not saying that that isn't possible or that we shouldn't set wonderful goals, but the majority of folks, it's just not a reality for them. You have to make fitness a part of your lifestyle. If it's not part of it, it's not a normal component, you're not going to be able to stick with it. You have to set realistic goals, ones that you can stick to. By February, we all know the excitement's over and real life takes hold once again. But don't despair, because technology is here to help. By monitoring your heart rate and your activity with items like the Polar Loop, you can get a good idea of how much activity you're actually getting throughout the day, even how well you're sleeping at night. How hard was it working in the yard or chasing the kids around? Because guess what? It all counts. A couple nights ago, I was plugging in my watch just to kind of see where I was at and where my activity level was. And I had a little bit more to go for that day, and it gave me options. It said I could either jump rope for 13 minutes or I could wash dishes for 240 minutes. I found a rope. But it's good because it kind of reminds you, okay, physical activity doesn't mean going and sweating it out in a gym. You can do that, and that's great, but you know what? For a lot of moms out there, that's not necessarily a possibility. I can't leave the house. My kids are napping. So, I'm lucky I have an elliptical right there, or, I do my little stuff in the living room, but that's what I have available. I also know how many times I run up and down the stairs to get the kids and do the laundry and do all those things. I was amazed. The first day I wore my loop, I had 12,000 steps, and I hadn't worked out yet. It was incredible, and it made me feel good, and it made me feel like being even more active. It was so motivational, and I'm pretty motivated, so it's a really good thing. Technology has changed the way we look at exercise. It's changed where we do it, when we do it, and I think why we do it. It becomes more about how we feel versus a number on the scale or how we look. And I think that's a really good thing. I think it's a really healthy thing. Fitness makes me feel good. It makes me happy to be able to get up and move. And that wasn't always the case. In 2011, I faced the biggest challenge of my life. I was diagnosed with a rare form of ovarian cancer, and I went through a pretty difficult surgery followed by a very aggressive 9-week chemotherapy regimen. And there were many days that I simply could not get out of bed. But the best days were the days that I could get out of bed. I could even maybe get dressed and go for a 10-minute walk with my son. Maybe do 10 minutes of gentle yoga. Those times when I could actually get up and move my body, they were empowering. That's what helped me get through. That's a far cry from that little girl standing up there receiving a gold medal, best shape of my life, but I can tell you it was just as exhilarating. Fitness gives us so much. We know that. It helps us in all aspects of our lives. It feeds our mind, body, and soul. We can allow technology to take fitness and activity away from us, sure. But we can also choose to utilize technology to help us achieve our fitness and activity goals each and every day. We get to make it work for us so that even old school folks like me can easily see the benefits and the way that tech can encourage us, motivate us, inspire us to be the very best that we can be each and every day. I appreciate you all being here with me, and I want to thank Polar for inviting me to be here, a part of CES this year. So thank you so much, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.